I'm the one that put this flyer around on your tables here, something I put together for this conference. The project I've been working on, Advanced Hardwood Biofuels Northwest, is a USDA-funded grant project. It's a 5-year project, and it's in the 2nd year of the project. And the extension team for the project just started about a year ago, and so we haven't had a lot of chance to put a ton of materials together. So we're just starting, so we're looking for feedback and information. And I also put a plug on here for the program that Jim and Tim talked about in the key links. So I hope that's useful to you. And also, I'm getting over cold, so I'm hoping my voice will hold out for 10 minutes or possibly longer. So today's talk, I want to give you a bit of an overview on biofuels. I know Milton talked about in his state, he thought, alternative fuels are like the peak of the pyramid. But the reality is, did everybody in this room get here using fossil fuels? Anybody able to walk, bike? I don't see any hands. Okay. So we all got here using fossil fuels. So at some point, we're going to need something else. Someday we are. So the project I work on, Advanced Hardwood Biofuels Northwest, the idea is to take wood and turn it into drop-in fuels, replacement fuels, so gasoline, jet fuel, diesel that we can use instead of the fossil fuels. So I want to talk to you a little bit about national extension networks, because this project, the USDA, has funded 6 of these around the United States to develop these drop-in biofuels, and they've also recently funded a 7th one. I don't know where it's located yet, but I'm guessing it's somewhere here in the western part of the United States. There's another organization, NARA, that's located based in Washington State, but they work throughout the Northwest. And then I want to talk to you a little bit about regional extension networks. One of the reasons I was interested in attending this conference is my fellow extension faculty, you're like one of my main stakeholder groups, because there's just a few of us around the US that work on biofuels and bioenergy. And so we need all of you to help us spread the word and to be educators. And then talk about how I've been working on doing that in Oregon, California, and Idaho. So biofuels, I adapted this from a DOE publication that's adapted replacing the whole barrel. And so here we are today with corn ethanol that is in a lot of our fuels or gasoline. And corn ethanol, unfortunately, it's a very energy intensive to make it. It uses a lot of water, a lot of fertilizer. The amount of energy you get out of that's not very high. So the direction we're going is towards cellulosic ethanol. And so that's making fuel from corn stover, basically the non-food parts of plants, switchgrass, wheat straw, wood, things like that. So that is the direction we're going, hopefully in the very near future. But in the more distant future, we're going to advance hydrocarbon fuels. Is there a laser on this anywhere? Does anybody know? Okay, so we're going to advance hydrocarbon fuels. And so these are drop-in fuels that we can put in our cars, our planes, and our farm equipment. So this is from a DOE report, the billion-ton update. So if you notice on there in the bottom, here we are, 2012, 2013, you don't see any green in there. The green is energy crops. So today, the amount of purpose-grown crops for energy is very low. But the direction we're heading, down the road by 2030, you see a big bar of green. So that's like 200 million dry tons of energy crops that's going to be used to produce our fuel. So the idea is that by 2030, 30% of our transportation fuels are coming from these purpose-grown energy crops. So as an extension field, working with agricultural communities, a lot of constituents are going to be growing these energy crops. So it's going to be an important thing for all of us to get up to speed on. So that's why I've circled that. So the project I work on, Advanced Hardwood Biofuels Northwest, what we do is we take trees, purpose-grown trees. These are poplar trees, essentially cottonwoods. A lot of them are a hybrid between a western black cottonwood and an eastern cottonwood. There's also some European hybrids mixed in, Asian hybrids, and they are growing these as a short rotation woody crop. And so they're harvested with a machine there. That's a forage harvester with a modified head on it. It's got these 2 huge saws on it. And they're basically going in and mowing down the trees. And what the cool thing is that these grow back. And so they harvest them again in another 2 to 3 years. And so there's a lot of work initially in establishing this bioenergy farm and getting it set up. They plant it with cuttings that are about 2 feet long and about ½ an inch in diameter. There's a lot of startup costs, but once they're established, the thought is that they can harvest these for 7 rotations, so about 20 years. And so, it's a lot of effort initially, but a sustainable energy source. And so the idea, direct to drop-in fuels that go in cars, planes, and diesel-powered equipment. So the team that I work on, one of the cool things about this project is that we're looking at all aspects. We're developing the feedstock, the conversion technology. We have a sustainability team. We have a team that's works on education to build a future workforce for this industry, and then also the extension team. And one of the nice things about the extension team is that we get to work with everybody. And so we're working with all of these organizations to facilitate the transfer of the information and also to make sure that this is a sustainable enterprise going forward. It's a consortium of institutions around the Northwest. We have a lot of the major Northwest universities and then also 2 industry partners working on this. So what we're trying to create here is kind of these hub and spoke idea where you have landowner critical mass. And so you have areas, if you notice most of these kind of green dots with the orange spiderweb things around it, these are kind of in population clusters. So you want to build your fuel source where you know there's going to be a high fuel demand. And so looking right here, we see like here we are in Utah, we're around Salt Lake City to try out where we can get feedstock apply here to meet the fuel demand in this region. And so to do this from an extension perspective, you're going to have to work with growers in those areas to get them to adopt this new technology to be growing these purpose-grown crops for bioenergy. So as I mentioned, this program is across the United States. It's an AfriCap program funded by the USDA, and so right now there's 6 of them scattered across the United States. There's 2 in the Northwest. There's going to be another one somewhere between New Mexico and Alaska was all the information that I was given. So somewhere in there, maybe in that part of the country, there will be another project. And these are all 5-year funded projects. The newest one is New Bio in the northeastern United States. That one has just been going on for a year. And so we all work together as an extension teams with these projects. One collaboration is between the AHB project and the NARA project, and we work together in producing publications. And since both of us, our home is in Washington State, there's a lot of confusion between the NARA project and the AHB project because we're both taking wood and turning it into fuel. And so here we have a publication where we put together that lines out the key similarities and differences between the 2 projects. So one of the things we're trying to do is create kind of this regional extension cooperation. And so what we have is these green leaves are all demonstration sites for the bioenergy farms we have. And so we're working with Oregon State Extension, University of California, Davis Extension, and then University of Idaho Extension to have them be partners in this project so that they can work with communities, work with the landowners in showing off these bioenergy farms. And so one way we've gone about doing this is to start to survey the extension professionals in these 4 states. And so what we've done is we've targeted specifically extension professionals that we thought in the future would work with growers of these bioenergy crops. And so we targeted agriculture, natural resource agents, anybody who had experience with bioenergy, county directors. And we sent them a survey asking them questions about their experiences working with bioenergy, if they had any familiarity with it or not, and also if they had any interest in doing extension work on biofuels, and also the challenges they would envision in doing biofuel extension work. And so we sent this survey to 140 professionals in the 4-state region, and 81 responded for a response rate of 58%. So what we found is that we had about maybe 40% or so that had high to moderate interest in doing some sort of extension work related to woody biofuels. A lot of them had low interest or they weren't sure, but we just need a few committed folks that are interested in doing this type of extension work. Challenges to incorporating woody biofuels into a program. As we all realize, they're probably busy folks that don't need to add another project to their plate. And so a lot of them are reporting lack of staff time. They don't have, they already have too many projects. Lack of funding was definitely a concern. So going forward for this industry to meet our fuel needs for the future, that's going to be a consideration to how to fund these projects so that people can add it to their plate. And then also concerns for that it's not enough research. And so that's why the USDA has really backed this program nationwide to create sustainable biofuels programs. So one way that we are working to build this network throughout the region is that we have field tours at these 4 demonstration sites. And so at these field tours, we're demonstrating how you grow these hybrid poplar trees for bioenergy, to answer questions, to build our network of extension professionals throughout the region. We invite policymakers. We started to invite landowners to these. We had one a few weeks ago in northern Idaho, and the day it turned out to be just pouring rain. And still, we had people turn out. Pretty much everybody said that they were going to came, and I'm talking, and people are just pouring in as the rain is pouring in, so they come to this field tour. And so we're going to be continuing to do these field tours. One thing as we're doing these field tours, we try to integrate sustainability into the tour, and so we provide lunch, we try to use local foods, we try to make all of our plates, napkins, forks, all of it compostable. And so our biggest bucket there, if you can see it there in the corner, that's for all the compost. And so we try not to give them anything that would be trash so that they can compost and we can keep the whole practice sustainable. So going forward, we're having a field tour at our California site on November 4th. We have a few folks here from California who would like to attend that. This is the field tour we had in Jefferson, Oregon, early in September. And these trees, just to give you a sense of scale, this is 2 growing seasons. So these were planted in May 2012, and then this is in September of 2013. So these are like way over your head. And then they harvested these last week. And right now, it just looks like a mown field because they just literally mowed all that down. For those of you that are attending, possibly attending the ANREP conference, which is going to be in Sacramento in May, we're going to be having a field tour at the site that's near Sacramento with that conference. So going forward, what we hope to do is really increase the extension capacity for bioenergy throughout the Northwest to create a lot of materials on bioenergy specifically. I'm very interested in checking out the kit on the E3A to see exactly what you have in there. To build grower critical mass and to create these landowner co-ops, because for this to work as a future energy industry, that's going to be really critical so that we can drive this forward. So just acknowledge my colleagues, Nora Hayter, Shibu Kar, they're also full-time on this project. And then Kevin Zobrist is actually a forester, and he's the PI for the extension work. And right on cue, refreshment break.